to you, Candy, and thank you for, taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend this webinar. And I've done this replay because yesterday I had a bit of a challenge to have my webinar because we didn't have power in my area, and this is a challenge that we currently face in Johannesburg for now. But I think it will be sorted by the government. For those who are abroad in America or in Europe, we in Africa sometimes have challenges like power outage. So it's not often, but sometimes it happens. So today I would like to talk about setting and achieving your goal because it's such an important topic, and most often people neglect having goals. And unfortunately, if you don't have goals, it's pretty much like a GPS. If you don't have a GPS and you're looking for a place where you need to be, you're going to be running around for the whole day without finding the place. And if you don't have goals, basically, you're just going to be running around your entire life without knowing what exactly are you shooting for. So you are here and you will be, you will really enjoy this session because I'm going to try to give you the best tip that you can apply in your own life to be effective when it comes to setting your goals and achieving them. So just as an introduction, my name is Didier Mbayo. I am a coach and a speaker and a trainer from the John Maxwell Academy, and I'm also a lawyer by profession. And I've always been passionate about helping people to improve their life and become a better version of themselves. So my aim this afternoon is to really help you to, tap into that potential of yours that you haven't tapped into when it comes to setting and achieving your goals. So I'm going to share my slide, and I'm going to have to turn off my video for the time being, for the time I'm presenting, and after that I will just switch it on so I can listen to whatever questions you have and try to answer them. Thank you. Okay, Candy, let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So let me just put those slides in a mode that, it's a full screen so
yes,
you guys can see. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we have few sources that we've used. I did not list them on this slide, which is the source slide. So basically, I'm just going to name them. I got, some of the material from the Code of Living, which is a website. It's www.codeofliving.com. And then I also look at Forbes, the website of Forbes, to get some information in terms of reasons why you need to set goals. And I also read Brian Tracy's book, which is called, Setting Goals. And I also look at the lifehack.org website just to get a lot of information in terms of goal settings, and also www.brainycode.com. So the question that always comes from people is, what exactly is a goal? So a goal basically is a dream that is acted upon. That's how I can define it. So if you don't have dream, then you need to start thinking about what exactly do you dream of every day? What do you want to achieve in life? So dream is so important. You need to have a dream. So a goal can only be something that will make your dream concrete and a reality. According to the dictionary, a goal is defined as the result or achievement toward which your effort is directed. The decision to set goals is very important, which impact anybody's lives in more ways than you can imagine. And unfortunately, you still meet people who don't have goals. So they're just running around like handless chicken without knowing exactly what they're shooting for. According to the Code of Living, setting goals affect our lives in the following ways. Setting goals provide a sharp sense of focus. Anybody that you meet that is so focused, it's a person who got goals. Because once you have goals, you know exactly where your energy, your attention need to be directed. Setting goals allow you to measure your progress because you will never measure your progress until you have goals. And those goals need to be clear and specific. For some of us who work in the corporate world, we always hear our line managers saying the goals need to be SMART. And SMART stand for S stand for specific, M for measurable, and A for achievable, and R for realistic, and T for time bound. So setting goals also block you from distraction and provide productive boundaries. Setting goals combat procrastination, and most of us actually face procrastination on a daily basis. So when you have goals, it's going to help you to fight procrastination. Setting goals also motivate you because without motivation, you will never be able to achieve anything. So you need to get some sort of motivation. And beside that, your life is so precious. And unfortunately, to me, it looks like many people go into life just like they don't understand that they've been put on this earth with a mission to impact other people's life in the area of gifting. So it's not really okay for a person to live life without having this sense of urgency and understand that they are here for a mission because we need to use our gift and talent for other people. Now, what is amazing, there's been a study that was conducted by Harvard Business School, in October 2018. So basically what the study released is the following when it comes to goals. 83% of the population in the US do not have goals. And 40% have a plan in mind, but they don't have goals written. And only 3% have written goals. Now, according to the study, this is what they found, is that the 14% who have goals who are not written are 10 times more successful than those who don't have goals. Now, for those 3% who have written goals, they are even 3 times more successful than the 14% who have goals that are not written. So those goals are just in their mind. So you can see how having goals are critical for your success in life. So anything that you want in life will be based on you having clear and specific goals. When you set a goal for yourself, you inherently have an end game in mind. And Steve Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Effective People, made it even clear. You need to start with the end in mind because you need to know exactly where you're heading. And then once you know where you're heading, for a business, for instance, you need to look at your turnover. Let's say you aim to become a billion company. Then you need to put it. You need to write that in 20 years or 15 years from now, I will be a billion company. And now you start reverse engineering, working backward with the goal of having a billion in 15 years, and now looking at every single year and the month and the week and the day, how much your company should be producing for you to be able to reach the target. And also for you to be able to achieve your goal, you need to have a end game, but again, you also need to have behavior and a thought process that will help you to achieve those goals. Because if your behavior and your thought are not aligned with the goal that you have, you will never reach them. And the momentum can only be created once you have your behavior and your thought aligned. As you progress and get closer to accomplishing your goal, your brain releases a dopamine. A dopamine is something that in the medical profession, they usually refer to as the key ingredient for people to, be able to be productive. Usually when you go for a run or you go and exercise, before you even start exercising, you don't feel like doing it. But once you're done, you feel happy, you feel so excited, and you want to do so many things. So that feeling that you have come from the dopamine. It's a substance which control reward pleasure center in the brain and motivate you to take further steps to achieve a reward. When you set goal, you are going to have to develop a plan. A plan is required for you to achieve your goals. Without a plan, you are just wasting your time. So you need to develop a plan and then abide by the plan in order to get what you want. As you work your plan, you will notice gradual progress along the way. One of the things that I want to caution you here is usually people fall in love with the plan. The plan is good, but the plan needs to be readjusted as you go along. A simple example is last year, we were hit with COVID in February and March. For the company that have a great plan in January, unfortunately, they had to go back in the drawer and change the plan because COVID was something that people did not expect, but it happened. So things like COVID are pretty much like in the legal jargon, they use like a force majeure. So things like that happen. In life, there are things that you cannot control. And those are external factors. So you need to be able to have a plan, yes, but also the plan needs to be flexible enough to allow for adjustment. Just like a coach in a basketball game call off his team to make adjustment because of the way the game is going. So you need to be able to adjust your plan. Measuring your gradual progress allows you to see how far you have come. This can be incredibly motivating and encouraging enough to keep you on track. As you set goals and progress, you learn various methods of taking the proper step to get what you want. Likewise, measuring your progress also permits you to make any necessary alteration if you feel yourself getting off course. The ability to measure your progress is a skill that will serve you well in all aspects of life. And we work for companies. In companies, all the companies have a plan for the year. They have a strategic plan. They have a budget plan. So they have all sorts of plans because they need to measure every single progress they're making toward the attainment of the goals. So if companies are doing that, we also individually need to understand that it's so critical for us to start doing it. Now, the next slide will talk about how does setting your goal block distraction and provide, productive boundaries. First and foremost, we live in a world where people are addicted to distraction. I check on the net and there was a study that was conducted by Freedom Matters. According to this study, they say people spend on an average 5 hours a day on their mobile device. So an estimated 2.3 billion users of smartphone touch their phone thousands of times in a day. So that what it translates, it means it's basically this. You lose every month 6 days by you checking your phone 5 hours every day. In a year, you basically lose 2 months and 12 days. So can you imagine you losing all these days and then complaining that you don't understand why your life is not moving ahead? The reason is You spend too much time on your phone. So stop being distracted, being focused on your goals. Goals allow you, like I've said, to stop being distracted. And it helps you to achieve your goals sooner, but also help one develop self-discipline, which is a critical life skill. Because if you're not self-disciplined in life, you will never achieve anything. So you need to be self-disciplined and being able to manage your phone, knowing exactly when you can use it and when you cannot use it, it's so critical. I myself do it on a daily basis. I take my phone and put it somewhere where I am not going to be tempted to look at it, especially when I'm working on very important tasks. So when you have an end game in mind and are determined to get to the finish line, it's become increasingly easier to avoid things that will steer you off course. For those of you who struggle with blocking distraction on your quest to goal achievement, I will give you some few tips. Focus on 2 or 3 very important tasks that will propel you in the direction of your goal. So you need to be able every day to know exactly what are the 3 important tasks that I need to achieve today for me to get closer to my goal. So these are the activities that should bring your attention, because if you're wasting your time on doing trivial activities, that's where you have people complaining, I don't understand how this day has gone because I've been just busy, but you were not doing the things that bring a greatest return to your life. So you need to focus on activity that bring a greatest reward and a greatest return to your life. And those activities need to be scheduled in your diary. So those 3 major activities need to happen every day for you to reach your goal. And this is what it requires for you to be able to be, achieve the goal and tap into your potential and live a life of success. Focus on completing work in segments. Instead of attempting to tackle one huge project at once, break it down into bits. Distraction often comes when you are not 100% focused on the task at hand. What it means is basically when you have a big project. Let's say you have to implement a new framework in the organization or in your own company. So you need to break down this project into chunks, into portion that you can start working on. Because usually when you look at a bigger project like that, you will feel like overwhelmed. So the only way to be able to achieve that goal is to break it down into small sub-projects, and then you can be able to work on these projects. Goals provide boundaries by incentivizing you to know when to say no, and sometimes people get so overwhelmed and carried away with trying to do everything at once that they end up burning out. And burnout is the ultimate enemy to goal attainment. Some people have a fear of boundaries and feel as though boundary will prevent them from accomplishing their goals. But in reality, boundaries do exactly the opposite. Because once you have broad boundaries, you know exactly that this is the focus area. I am not going to allow myself to get distracted or to be asked to do something else that has nothing to do with my goals. Goal setting, like I said, combat procrastination. As I said, procrastination is one of the killer. Every single person faces procrastination on a daily basis. But if you set goals, it's going to stop you from procrastinating. And setting goals and striving toward achieving them innately increase your willpower. Mighty willpower combined with an end game in mind makes staying the course and not wasting time much easier. The best remedy for procrastination are motivation combined with a willpower. So the next question that I'm going to dwell on is, I think my slide were not following me. Yeah, how does setting goals motivate you? Setting goals are innately exciting and motivational, as it gives you something to strive toward and achieve. You always have drive and energy and passion that comes when you set goals and when you achieve them. It gives you a strength, it gives you a sense of purpose and a meaning for your life. And it helps you to avoid distraction and obstacle. You overcome difficulties and stay the course. So basically, setting goals is a great motivator combined with your willpower. Now, the next question that I'm going to ask you or maybe answer for you is why most people don't set goals. There is a reason why most people don't set goals. So there are four reasons. The first one is people don't know anything about goals. Why? Because probably when they grew up in the house, nobody was talking about goals. So if nobody was talking about goals, how would they even know that I need to have goals in my life? And I will tell you that this really happened to me. You know, when I grew up in my house, yes, my mom was so smart, my father, but the only area that they were focusing on was that you need to complete your study and then become somebody and then get a job and get married and so forth. Nobody has ever mentioned that you need to have goals. And of course, even when I went to school, even in university, nobody actually talked about goals. Why goals are so important. And I wonder why I've never been told about goals. I only learned about goals when I started my career. The first time I sat with my line manager, that's where I learned about goals. And that is really unfortunate. But for some of you who are on this call, who are watching this replay, you get the benefit of knowing about goals, why goals are so important. So the second reason is people don't know how to set goals. And that's why they even refrain from having goals. So they just have wishy kind of, dream. They say, for instance, I want to have more money. I want to be happy. But those are wish. Those are not goals. So you need to be specific when we talk about goals. The third reason is people are afraid of rejection. Because if you set goals and you don't achieve them, what's going to happen to you, especially if you share it with a friend? Probably that person will laugh at you and will make, will ridicule you. But that shouldn't be a reason. At the end of the day, you are living your own life. You are ultimately responsible for setting those goals. Because if you don't set them, there are consequences. So unfortunately, people do not set goals because they just avoid rejection. And that's not a good reason. The last one is people are afraid of failure. They are afraid of failing. And I keep telling most of the people that I coach and people that I talk to, failure and success are very good friends. So in life, you either fail or you succeed. The question is, when you fail, you're not really failing, in fact. You are learning something, as long as you have the right perspective about that, about the failure. So as long as you see it as an opportunity to learn and readjust the way you're going to go for your goal. So failure should not be an excuse for you to not set goals. Next slide. You are ultimately responsible for your goal. Yes, you are. If you don't set goals, if you set them, there are consequences. Of course, if you don't set those goals, you're going to be running around like a headless chicken without knowing where you're heading, and it brings a lot of frustration. You will never be happy. While if you have goals, it brings a sense of purpose. It brings a sense of meaning to your life. And you feel happy at the end of the day because you know exactly what you're shooting for and you know exactly how your life will, look like in 10, 15 years. The fact that you are here, I believe, I mean, Candy, for instance, and the people who are watching this replay, it means that you have really a keen interest to set goals and have a different life. So I'm willing to help you by giving you the tips that will make you incredible successful and be able to stand apart from the crowd. Because unfortunately, on this earth, only 1% of the people who are wealthy have goals. Anybody that you meet that is successful have goals. And unfortunately, the 99% don't have goals. So they remain just in the situation that they are. They're not fulfilled, they're not feeling fulfilled, they're not feeling happy. So that, unfortunately, it's the fate that they've chosen. Let me move to the next slide. Why do people often fall short of when working to achieve their goals? So the question is, why do people often fall short when working to achieve their goals? Like I've said in the introduction, goals need to be specific and clear. And one of the acronyms that you use for goals is SMART. And I think I have explained that goals need to be specific, measurable, achievable, reliable, and time-bound. For example, if you said, I want to make a lot of money, that is not a good goal. It's so broad. You need to be specific and say, I want to earn $50,000 by end of the year, or I want to earn 500,000 USD by end of the year. That is much better because that can be measured. People often procrastinate, just like I said. They set very good goals, and then when it starts to now moving and making those goals become a reality, they start procrastinating. And one of the things that will help you to avoid procrastination is to start immediately. When you set a goal, you need to start immediately. Otherwise, you're not going to feel incentivized to work toward your goal. So starting immediately is the key. Otherwise, you will get sidetracked and you will just put off whatever you need to do. The next one is make sure that your reference group, the people that you surround yourself, are people who are going to help you and support you toward the achievement of your goal. Because if you don't surround yourself with the right people, you're going to end up being with critics and naysayers. And we both know what critics and naysayers can do to you. Most of them, because they don't have clear goals, they will discourage you from going and pursuing your goals. So you need to make sure that your reference group are people who are supportive to you achieving your goal. And you need to also have the right behavior and the attitude and the process that you put in place to make sure that you can achieve those goals. Let me move to the next slide. To succeed in your mission, you must have a single-minded devotion to your goal. That is a quote from Abdul Kalam. Now, what are some creative ways on how you can accomplish your goal? So the most and powerful creative way is visualization. I keep repeating that to many of the people that I coach. You need to visualize yourself achieving the goal. Because if you don't visualize, what happens is you will never believe that the goal is achievable. And visualization, for some of you who are Christian, or those who believe in Allah, or those who belong to any religion, there is a fundamental and common element in most of the religion is that you need to have faith. So whatever goal you believe in, you need to have faith that I will accomplish that goal. Because if you don't have faith, you will never be able to achieve the goal. So visualization helps you to see yourself already achieving the goal. You need to believe it for you to achieve it. Because your thought and your action will depend on your belief. If the belief system is not supportive of whatever you want to achieve, you will never achieve it. And you have to remember that everything that we see today, table, computer, car, aeroplane, are the result of someone visualizing them, somebody using his imagination. So anything that we see on earth is a result of somebody visualizing. So if you visualize, of course, you will make that dream come true. You need the second creative way, you need to speak with conviction. When you are talking about your goal, instead of saying, I wish, I want, or I hope, you might say, use the present tense. You might say, I drive a Jaguar, for instance. I own a house that is fully paid. You need to affirm in the present tense. And you also need to use words that do not have a negative connotation. For instance, when you say, I want to get out of debt, debt is a negative word. You don't need to use such word. You need to say, I'm happy and grateful that I'm earning 1 million rand by end of this year. That is positive. Because at the end of the day, if you can make the 1 million rand, of course, you will get rid of your debt. So why bother talking about your debt? Break down the bigger goal into sub-goals. Because one of the biggest enemy of achievement is the feeling of being overwhelmed. If you want to achieve a lofty goal, try breaking it down into parts and tackling them gradually as you go along. Not only does this keep you from getting burnout, but setting goals, sub-goals also allow you to track your progress as you go along, which is highly motivational. And many people usually set goals with the right intention, but they are super motivated on the goal setting day. They are even invigorated by the possibility of what will happen. They are so eager to start the process, but they are petrified of falling short, whether this is conscious or subconscious thought. And I have to stop here. You as a human being, you are made of two parts in your mind, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is where you reason, reject, accept idea. And your subconscious mind, you do not reason or reject, you just apply. Unfortunately, the subconscious mind is the custodian of your identity, your habit, your paradigm, your belief system sit in your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind governs 95% of what you do every single day. So if you want to be able to achieve your goal, you need to reprogram your subconscious mind to create the right belief system, the right paradigm, the right thought process for you to be able to achieve your goal. The most important thing when you set goals is to start, to begin. Because if you don't begin, you will never get the momentum. Just starting the process will increase your chance for success. Now, I want to just put a disclaimer. There are many other factors that I will touch on shortly, but I want to emphasize that how important it is to begin. If you don't begin, nothing will happen. Just like if you want to start something, you need to start moving toward the direction of the thing that you want. So moving will allow the things to start unfolding. You need to make a decision and you need to declare it out loud. Here, I need to bring your attention. When you have goals, you need to read them every day. Put it on your phone, put it on a notebook. I don't care. Read those goals every single day. When you wake up, read those goals out loud. Go through them. Evening before you go to bed, read those goals, because that's how you get motivated. And according to many scientists, the fact of you reading your goal in the morning got a psychological effect in your mind. You will start believing that you can achieve those goals. Write them down is very important, because once you write a goal, it gets, you anchor it in your mind. Brian Tracy, in his book, Setting Goals, he actually say that every day you need to take a piece of paper with a pen and rewrite your goals. Because the more you write it every day, you believe in it. And it becomes part of your subconscious mind. And the next thing is you need to get 3 people that will hold you accountable. Of course, people that you trust, people that are in your reference group. Someone like a coach. I am really happy to help you in that area. You need to get yourself either a mentor, a coach, somebody that will hold you accountable. Because if you don't have somebody who's going to hold you accountable, it's easy to slide back and not achieve your goal, because you have nobody that you can report to. Moving to the next slide. So, you need to be clear. There are different areas of your life where you need to set goals. It can be health-wise, financial, career-wise, business-wise. So those areas, you need to set the 3 important goals. What are the 3 important goals in those 3 or 4, 5 areas? And I always encourage people, when they set goals, to be more aggressive. Because a goal should not be something that it's easy for you to reach. It must be something that, get you scared. When you look at the goal, you say, how am I going to achieve it? Because that is what makes the beauty of a goal. Because you are not supposed to know how. You are just supposed to set the goal. The how is none of your business. It is God's business for those who are Christian. For those who don't believe in God, it's the law of the universe that will come into play. Because once the goal is set, you start attracting the resource and the people that will make that dream come true. Trust me, those laws work. You just have to do what I'm asking you to do. Set the goal, be aggressive enough. If you are a business, put a number there. If it's 200 million, if it's 300, put the number there. You are not supposed to know how it's going to happen. In any case, in your life, if you look back at your life, you were not supposed to know every single step of your life. Today, the person that you are is not necessarily that you have figured out everything that you were supposed to do. But because there was an orchestration, the law of the universe attract the resource, attract the people. The more you focus on the area that is important to you. And one of the things, when you set goals, do not allow yourself to have a plan B. No plan B. I have set the goal. This is what I'm shooting for. Will Smith actually said, there is no reason to have a plan B, because it distracts from plan A. Because once you have a plan B, you are already believing that you're not going to achieve the goal. So it's easy for you to slide back and say, well, I couldn't achieve the goal. That's why I fall back to plan B. No. Have only one goal. It's the plan A. That's what you're shooting for. Many people play the goal setting too safe because they are fearful of missing the mark. But my challenge to you only is to have one plan, which is success. So if your goal is to lose 35 pounds, by the time you go on vacation, do not have a plan B, which states losing 20 pounds is okay. No. If your goal is to make an extra $20,000 this year, then do not settle for $90,000. You need to have a tunnel vision for your desired outcome, and do not let yourself stop until you hit your goal. And then there is something really important you must do. You must celebrate every time when you reach even the sub goal. Learn to celebrate, because unfortunately, most of us do not have that habit of partying. You see the picture, this lady is partying. So once you reach the sub goal, please celebrate, rejoice, buy yourself something. So at least you can say, I have achieved something, because that keeps you motivated. Each breakthrough requires acknowledgement of your effort. Make the journey filled with recognition. There is a guy who's called Ben Renshaw. He says, on average, by the age of 18, we will have been praised and encouraged 30,000 times. And most of this by the time we are 3. Somewhere along the way, we stop celebrating. As adults, usually when we reach a goal, we don't celebrate. We just talk about it just like it's something normal. No, learn to celebrate. The small achievements, you learn to celebrate them, because that will give you more motivation and you will be more incentivized. Neglecting to celebrate your success can cause you to slowly and subconsciously start to take a negative view of your accomplishment. When you focus on what you haven't accomplished instead of what you have, you are less likely to stay on task and complete your goals. The good news, thought, is that you celebrating your accomplishment can boost your confidence, help to stave off burnout, and fuel your continued success. So you need to put the first milestone that you need to achieve. So in your quest to achieve your goal, there is also one important element. You need to learn to prioritize. Prioritize, it's so critical. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Pareto principle. The Pareto principle basically says that 20% of your effort will produce 80% of your result. So you need to focus single-mindedly on the 2 important tasks that will bring you the greatest return. Brian Tracy, in the same book that I've been referring to, say, there is always one question that you need to ask yourself. What is the best use of my time right now? What am I supposed to do right now? What is going to bring me the greatest return? What is going to bring me the greatest reward? So those activities should be my focus point. And those activities need to be my priority because they are aligned with my goals. I cannot be dragged during the day into things that are not productive, that do not help me to achieve my goal. I will give you an example. You work for an organization. You have goals that you have set with your line manager. There are goals that you know they will move the needle. If you achieve the goal, you will get noticed in the organization. You will even get your bonus. So every day you need to make sure that every single thing that you do is aligned with that goal. If you have a business, we're talking about you making 200 million USD by in 2, 5, 4, 6 years. Then every day you need to prioritize activity that will help you to generate the revenue that will get you closer to your goal. Accountability, I have talked about it. You need to have an accountability partner. You need to have somebody who holds you accountable. Now, how do you practically every day make sure that you're on track when it comes to your goal? Firstly and foremost, you need to have a journal. You need to document your day, weeks, and months so you can measure your progress. The journal is such a great tool because by end of the year, you should be able to look back into your journal every day. What activity was I doing that were closer to my goal? So that's why you need to have a journal. You need to write down every day everything that you do. So at least you can assess yourself every week. By end of the week, you go back to the journal. How was my week? Was I productive? Was I doing the things that get me closer to my goal? Put yourself as a goal. Read, try to read as much as you can about goal settings. And I mentioned Brian Tracy. I can share the book, the details of the book. You know, somebody like David Schwartz wrote also a very interesting book about the magic of thinking big. It's a good book that you can read. And the other thing that I can ask you to do is to have a power life script. So a power life script is basically you talking about the goals that you want to achieve in the present tense. Record it with your phone. We all have a smart device. Record yourself talking about your goals and how you have achieved them in the present tense. And then listen to your power life script every day. I got this technique from a lady called Peggy McCall. She's one of the greatest speaker and a coach and a trainer. She's a Canadian. So she encouraged people to use a power life script to make the things that they want or the goals to become a reality. So I strongly encourage you to record yourself talking in the present tense. For instance, I'm happy and grateful now that I have my house fully paid. I am happy and grateful now that I am driving my dream car. I am happy and grateful now that I have my job, the job that I've always dreamed of. Believe. You need to believe. Whatever you want to achieve, you firstly need to believe that it can be done. So I know I have, unleashed a lot of information on you, and you're probably likely to feel inspired or overwhelmed. But, these feelings are normal, but it actually incentivizes you to understand why it's so critical that you set goals for your life. So, as I've said in the beginning, I am a speaker, coach, and trainer. And I'm so passionate in that area to help people to set their goals. So you can reach out to me. I will put the details of my website and even on my Facebook page. You can send me a request and I'll be more than happy to assist you on how to set goals that will make you outstanding and become a success. Because ultimately, you are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. So your life, it's so important. It's a duty and it's a responsibility that you have, that you use your gift and talent. And the only way you can do that is by having clear goals so you can reach your full potential. So thank you very much. And I really appreciate that you have set a bit of your time out of your busy day, Candy, and for other people who are watching this video, I really thank you. And I appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to invest in your growth and learn a little bit about setting goals and achieving them. Thank you very much. So I'm opening now for questions.
Well, Didier, thank you so much for inviting me for this webinar. Yeah, you're right. Amazing information. I was taking down so many notes, trying to keep up, but I'm glad that I'll be able to listen to it since you will be sharing it on your site. So the first thing that you spoke about, I think that really caught my eye and my ear rather, was you said, a lot of people spend a lot of time on their phones. So you gave an example of 6 days out in a month. I mean, you were breaking it down. So my question to you that comes to mind on this point is, what happens when you are a person that is starting a business and you have to be on your phone? How would you advise on that one? Does one need to be very careful still on the number of, on how many hours they spend on the phone, or what's your take on that one?
Okay, thank you very much. It's actually a good question. I think the phone actually is just like a computer, basically. So most people actually use their phone to work, along, during the day because they may not have the laptop physically. So the question that remains is, what I think there was an important question that I mentioned is, what am I required to do right now? So the phone is there to be a tool that will allow you to be productive in relation to your work, to your goals. So as long as you use the phone for you to be able to accomplish the activity and task that will get you closer to your goal, it's okay. The biggest problem becomes when the phone is now used to go on social media or wasting time talking to people, doing activity basically that are not aligned with your goal. Because that is easy to do. I check my phone, for instance, today. With iPhone, you get this report every Sunday. I checked the report today, and it looks like the whole week I was 4 hours per day on the phone. So I may not notice it, but it's easy for you to spend 4-5 hours on your phone doing activity that are not productive, that do not bring you the reward or the greatest return in relation to your goals. So as long as you discipline, because the only way you can be able to use your phone in an effective way is to know exactly what you're supposed to do with the phone. If it's to answer an email, then it's okay. If you are, I'll give you a simple example. My wife, she's in the business of, promoting models or selling blazers. Of course, if she used the phone to put a video to market or advertise a business, that's okay. But the problem comes when the phone is used, like most people, to just, be browsing, watching Netflix, talking to people unnecessarily during the day while you should be doing the most important activity. Then it's a problem. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, you have. The second one that I have was where you spoke about how does setting goals motivate you. And one of the points that you raised, which I strongly believe with you, is that maybe we all misunderstand it, is when you spoke about, putting up wishes where you assume it's a goal. So I think you gave two examples of I want money, I want a nice house. I know you semi-touched it, but just as a guide, a quick guide for one to know this is a wish, this is a goal. In terms of the two examples you gave on I want money, I want a nice house. The money part, I understood correctly. I think you explained it where you said, if you want money, always have an amount to it and give yourself a time frame by when you should achieve this. But in terms of a nice house, please could you elaborate that?
Okay. For a nice house, it's a very good goal. Actually, the only way you can measure it is and make it more tangible is I want a nice house with the following specification. Just like you will go for on a Sunday for just to watch and see the house that are on sale. So you take a picture of that house. So at least you have the spec. As the same way you say, I want a nice car. Which car do you want? Do you want a sport car? Do you want a SUV? So you need to be specific. What is the car that you dream of? Because once you become specific, then it creates that motivation and incentivize you to now go after something that you, because the part of visualization can only come into play if you already have a clear idea of what you're shooting for. So if the house of your dream is a house with the following spec, a swimming pool, a patio, and a bar or something like that, it needs to be clear to you. So you need to also have a picture. So at least when we're talking about visualization, when you engage into visualization, you know exactly what you're looking for.
Perfect. I think the other question that I have comes to the point where you shared the conscious and the subconscious mind, and on how we need to feed, the mind and make sure that we're getting it right. So my question to you is, would you say that I need to start working on my conscious mind with my subconscious mind first before I set my goals, or these two can be done together?
Wow, thank you, thank you. That's a very interesting questions. Um, I would say yes, those need to be worked together. The reason being, once you set a goal, so like I've said in the beginning, when you write down the goal, you are instructing your subconscious mind. This is what I want. Now, for the subconscious mind to be able to act upon, that's why I said you need to read those goals every day. Because the more you read them, the more you are rewriting the narrative in your subconscious mind and telling your subconscious mind, this is what I'm shooting for. This is what I want. Because this is pretty much like you affirming, you're doing daily affirmation. And that's what is required for you to rewrite the narrative in your subconscious mind. And I think it's one of the techniques that most of the psychologists have advised people to do. The only way, there are three techniques. There are other techniques that are more sophisticated and very costly. But the more cheapest way to rewrite your mind is by you doing daily affirmation. So goals can be you can work towards your goal and also reprogramming your mind to achieve them.
Okay, thank you. Lastly, I think you were very spot on when you spoke about the challenges we have when we're setting goals in terms of failure. So, if you set a goal, let's say you broke it down so nicely. You need to have a journal where you have your weekly goal, which you can also look at on a monthly. Then you can look at it holistically towards the end of year. Now, what happens if, let's say, I've set myself 3 goals, which I have given myself a target to say by the first half of the year, which is June or July, I must achieve them, and none of those are working. What do I do? I think that's the last one for me. And maybe I know you help a number of people. What do I do in case I don't have a mentor at that time, or I don't have a coach at that time? What would you recommend is the way forward? Because it's easy to just say, you know what, none of them are working, so I'm just going to give up. So what's your advice? And that's my last question.
Okay, good question as well. I think when I was going through the presentation, I talk about a plan and the ability for you to measure your goals. Because whatever deadline you put to yourself, the question that remains is, when you measure and assess yourself toward achieving those goals, what did you pick up that is the bottleneck? Because if you really do measurement of your goal, you reassess yourself, you will be able to pick up what is exactly the issue that will stop me from achieving this goal. It can't be a surprise. In actual fact, if you can't reach your goal, there is something that you either miss, or there is something that is an external factor that stop you from achieving the goal. But you will only pick up it when you measure and reassess yourself regularly. Because that is the only way for you to be able, if I am on the right track in terms of my plan, am I doing the things that I was supposed to do? Or is there something that is interfering that will stop me from achieving my goal? That you need to do it. Because yes, if you don't reach your goal by the time you set it, you should have known from the beginning that these are the challenges that I'm going to face. I can tell you, I will give you an example, simple example. I set myself as a company that this is how much I want to make at the end of this year. And of course, through this exercise, I also think about the obstacles, the challenges that I may face, and how am I supposed to overcome those challenges. And there are 3 or 4 activities that I need to do to make it happen. So if I fail to do the things that I'm supposed to do, of course, I'm not going to reach that target. It's just a mere kind of fallacy. I am not going to reach that target. So you need to understand, goals need to be measured on an ongoing basis. It's your responsibility again. You have set the goals, it's your responsibility to reassess yourself. If you don't have the courage to do it, that's why I keep saying you need to have a coach, You need to have a mentor. You need to have somebody that holds you accountable. So at least you can see if you are on track or you're not on track. Success can only be achieved if somebody holds you accountable. If you sit on your own, it's easy for you to find reasons and do not even do a proper assessment of yourself. Because we have blind spots. Every single person got blind spot. I also have my own blind spot. I can't see them. Somebody else can see them. And that somebody else is a coach or a mentor that can help you to look and say, no, you are afraid of doing this. Why are you afraid? And you know that if you do X, Y, Z, it's going to bring you the revenue that you're looking for. So why are you failing to do it? So that, for me, it's the must. Goals are like magnets. You attract them. But if you don't achieve them, there must be a reason. Always a reason, just like a company. When the company set targets on how much they're going to make, if they cannot reach it, they know exactly what happened along the way that stopped them from achieving them. They will tell you, we failed to do X, Y, Z. So we also need to be able as individuals to assess ourselves and to know exactly what were the shortcomings. What did I miss here? What did I fail to do that stopped me from achieving my goal? Because that will also help you to improve when you reset your goals. If you fail at them, it doesn't mean that it's a stop. It's a goal. It's still a goal. You failed to achieve it, but at least you know the reason. Now you can push the deadline and say, okay, I'm pushing it to next year. And now I'm going to start working actively and every day on XYZ activity that will make the goal a reality. I hope I'm making sense.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this webinar. It's been absolutely a great value. And I know the people that are going to, also listen in will find it of value. And I do hope we'll have more of these, that this is not just the only one you're having. So once again, thank you very much for having me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for attending, Candy. And thank you very much for everybody who's listening to this podcast. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.